Five Guys, Mostly Lies. Episode of Five Guys, Mostly Lies. Tonight, we should have everybody here, but we're waiting on Dorian, which might take longer than any of us really want to. We got Rich is in the house. Rich.
What's happening, gentlemen?
We got Mike. Mike.
Hi, everybody.
And we got Patrick.
Hey, what's going on?
Cool. So, just kind of an intro to this whole thing here. The podcast was kind of born from a Facebook conversation that all of us were having a few weeks ago, and it, as everything with us, kind of turned into turned into a.
I think the conversation started with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or is that
It was somewhere around that.
I think it was that.
Sure.
Let's be honest. What conversations don't start?
But it kind of turned. It took 18 million different turns, and I think I was the one who brought up that we need to make this a podcast. So here we are.
Hold on, I'm going to break in real quick. We should give Alvy a lot of credit for putting together the
Yes.
Facebook page, Twitter, every feed that goes along with it, building the website.
The interesting thing about this podcast is that none of the five guys is in the exact same city at all. We're spread about Florida and New York City, actually. So it makes things a little difficult for us sometimes to get everybody on the same page, I guess you can say.
Oh, we gotta. So we are missing one person on this podcast because he's an idiot, and that's Dorian Cuban. Alvy,
Not
if
the
you would
first
like
time
to
or
say
last time you'll hear us say that.
that is yes, definitely. If everybody would, Alvy, would you like to say something about Dorian?
Well, I don't know. Dorian is just Dorian's his own little creature, I think.
Creature. Uses the word creature.
I don't know if there's really a way to explain.
He's kind of like
Dorian
Gollum.
is.
No,
But
he's
kind of like Gollum.
he's our court jester.
Yeah, like Gollum
He's the punching
and
bag,
Ted
I think.
and Ted combined. You know what I'm saying?
So he's kind of like Fez.
But he's thick enough. He has thick enough skin to take it, so that's why we do it too.
Yeah, that's
Well, yeah, he's a hell of a sport for letting us bomb on him, but I don't
Abuse
think he
him.
really has a choice sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it just kind of happens. We can't figure out where the hell he went, and we had him on earlier, and before we hit the record button, and I don't know. Did anybody else find it odd that he was listening to Lionel Richie in the background?
Thank you. We didn't even discuss that. That every
See,
time
and
we were yelling at him, he was fucking
And
like.
I thought Pat was going to. Yeah, I thought Pat was going to bring it up, and I was just sitting here looking. It was bothering me that in the background all you could hear was "Hello, is it me you're looking for?"
Actually,
I'm like,
can I bring up? You know what? You're
As
right.
a matter of
Alvy.
fact, Dorian, yes, it is you I'm looking for because you're not in this, and it's pissing me off.
You know what actually did bother me more is that Pat didn't say anything.
Yeah, so
I
Why
totally
am I in
thought he
charge
was
of the
going
Lionel
to.
Richie references? I don't even understand why I would be. in charge of
you are
such a thing.
usually the first one to just be like, Dorian, the fuck.
So the actual
Yeah.
reason that Dorian's not here is, according to him, is because he's eating, and because he doesn't know how to use his own technology. So, in Dorian fashion, at the last minute, he has taken it upon himself to scavenge what technology he could find in his house, that being an old iPad and iPhone, and set about doing his own setup here. So we're kind of waiting on him, and we all have our different schedules, and I want to let everybody know that hopefully it will get better, and we don't have to change our name or our branding. But Dorian, in all fairness, has a new baby that we're all kind of uncles, as it were, of. So we're a little bit understanding. Having said that, it's why we've created the Dorian Award.
You guys will have to explain the Dorian Award because I think myself, like everybody else, that's probably going to be listening to this for the first time, has no idea what the Dorian Award is.
Well, we were arguing on how it started, okay? But this is something that we've had, I mean, guys, how long? Since high school, easily, right?
Since we were like 15 or 16.
Yeah, easily since our teenage years. And it was given out on a yearly basis.
The specifics may be mysterious, but we remember the general...
Exactly.
Everything about it.
Actually, I want to come in with something I've been thinking about. I don't think it really was a huge award because it only went to Mike and Dorian because they did the stupidest things year after year.
Yeah, it was Dorian for 2 years in a row, and then me for 2 years in a row, and then Dorian.
So we gave
Well, Mike had a period of about 3 years where between having a child at 20, it kind of all came into play.
Yeah, so we gave it out basically to whoever did the dumbest thing throughout the years.
But no, it wasn't. Wait, it wasn't always dumb. It was also just sheer bad luck.
Yeah, well, I would use the word cloudiness. No, I wouldn't say bad luck because I think
don't
luck
talk
is
about
an acronym.
Pat like
it's
that,
like,
Richard.
It's like labor under correct knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So you make your own luck. So yeah, we could say it was dumb luck as well. But there's a reason why you see the table tournaments of poker and it's all the same players. It's not a game of chance. It's the same reason why the award was also named after Dorian because it too was not an award of chance.
That's absolutely beautiful.
We actually came up with
That
a
was our
second
first
award. We actually came up with a second award for me.
Yes.
Remember, Rich?
Yes,
yeah,
I
we
did.
did. Yeah, we did. We came up for whoever's like the worst friend
Yeah.
who just drops off the face of the
That's
earth.
awesome.
Oh, it's definitely Mike.
I think I'm the only winner and current champion of that fucker.
That is true. Mike took it upon himself to pull what I like to call a Shaolin priest, and he just vanished out of thin fucking air. And he spent this time, traveling around, and he would do, again, like a Shaolin priest. You'd just be doing your normal shit one day, and Mike was out of nowhere. And there he is, just in your life. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I'm going to stick around from now on. An hour later, I shit you not, no idea where he's at in the fucking world.
Yeah.
So we created this award called the Mike Award during one of these brief minute-long
So it's more not even a Shaolin priest. It's more like a ninja.
Yeah, but I didn't want to give it
You
that
just
much
like
coolness,
smoke bomb just kind of goes off. And
No, it's more like a
hair
Power
gone.
Ranger. It's more like a Power Ranger ninja.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
So go ahead.
No
Rich.
idea how we got here from the Dorian Award.
Yeah, I don't know. Like
You guys
again. This is
are
how.
interesting souls.
Yeah, of course. And it takes. I think it's going to take a few of us to kind of wrangle the conversation back to where we started. But that's kind of the whole point of this, I think.
Do we want to do topics, or Alvi, are you Grandmaster, and we shall be directed by you?
I think I want to bring up a topic. I've been an Apple fanboy for a very long time. I've owned every single iPhone since the iPhone came into existence, and I need an upgrade. I'm on an iPhone 4 now, and it's time for a new phone. And I'm not a big fan of the Apple product anymore. I went and looked at the new iPhone 5S, and there's a lot of shit on that phone that makes me not want to get it.
God, I've really been wanting to talk about this, and we spoke about it earlier today. And the crazy thing is I've been saying for
you're about
years
to deliver a
Alfie
pro Android message.
every time he comes in
Pro
with his
Android.
new device, I keep telling him, there was a point where Apple kind of stopped being the best of the best. And, I will admit, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, that was kind of their pinnacle. There was nobody that could match, nothing, that could compare, that could beat them. We're taking price out of this equation, of course. We can, of course, do price comparison and find all kinds of value in cheaper things. But for the top of the top, best of the best, it was iPhones hands down, rather. When it hits to iPhone 4, though, or maybe even the end of 3, Android just started producing phones. And it's not Android, but, these companies started producing phones with, an Android, what am I trying to say, program or system behind it. Operating system. Thank you. I was on the tip of my tongue there. And I tell you what, I've been trying to push for years, and so I get a call this morning from Alvy, and I swear I felt kind of like, I don't know what this feels like, obviously, like a televangelist, where I was like, you have finally come through, my brothers.
You have exercised the demons.
You have exercised the apple within your soul. Get away from the marketing.
Nice.
And so I was a happy man. And so when he told me he was going to talk about it on here today, I'm just going to let him talk. There's so much I could say. We could jump into the I told you so's all day long, in fact. But, I really want to hear the transformation. And hopefully, to you Apple lovers out there, you can listen to this story and just decide to, instead of following, the Apple drone, I don't know what I'm trying to say. You get what I'm trying to say. You can do your research and see what the better phone is. And Dad, if you're listening to this, I love you. But, Android's just getting better out there. And, so my own father is one of the guys, like, I think my buddy Pat is as well, judging by his attempt to interject a moment ago. But yeah, I want to hear this, so please.
I feel like it's time for me to throw in a little opinion. I wanted to jump in earlier because the real point was, hey, let's throw in a little Apple love too. Hey.
Yeah, I
got my. To put it this way, you can talk what you want about the new phones out there, but when the 5 came out, the phone I have, it was still pretty high up there for phones. There's some really good value to it in different ways, and they've kept adding to it. But this last update, and I know the people who are out there who do like Apple with me, they did not execute that update very well. There's been a couple issues. All of a sudden, my phone, that never stops sending text messages and is always reliable, is all of a sudden unreliable for the first time since it's come out. Like, that's not a market looking to hit Apple.
Well, no.
You get back to that Steve Jobs book and stop messing around.
Yeah, I think my Android has never had a problem sending messages. That's
incredible. A lie, because everyone who's ever owned an Android knows there's always some kind of an issue.
Let's be honest, right? Anybody who's ever owned any phone, there's always something wrong with it. They're not perfect in any way, shape, or form. But I think Rich kind of hit on something. I think after the iPhone 4S came out, that was kind of the end of the cool innovations that Apple has come out with. Let's be honest, what was the big transition from 4S to iPhone 5? There really wasn't much. They changed the case a little bit. I think they upgraded the camera a little bit. The processor got a little bit faster, not by much. And
is it weird that kind of their downfall coincides pretty closely with the death?
No, it does. It's not weird at all, because let's look at Apple from the beginning. When Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak got together, they created something that's just amazing, and nobody had ever seen anything. Let's be honest. Windows copied their shit. Microsoft copied their shit. So, when they came out, it was amazing. Well, then Jobs went to a point where Apple said, "Okay, we're done with you," and he left the company. And Apple's stock tanked, Apple's products tanked. Everything about Apple was bad.
And I thought he got fired.
I think he did. Something happened to where they kind of parted ways. They were just like, "Hey, thanks for everything, but we'll see you later." And then, so when Jobs left, Apple tanked. And then Jobs came back several years later, and that's when everything started picking up again. That's when all the really nice MacBooks started coming out, and the AirBook started coming out, and then the iPhone came out. And that was Steve Jobs' reemergence into Apple, and everything kind of started picking up again. Steve Jobs is a fucking genius, and there's no one out there that can't say that man had he had visions beyond his, beyond our seeing,
Well, I agree. He reminds me, to make some parallels, he reminds me of Henry Ford in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The man was a fucking genius, and
they also both went to their technicians and to their programmers, and Ford, the parallel there, to his engineers, and asked for things to be done that he was originally told were impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and I mean, so it's not a surprise to me at all that Apple has dropped the ball several times since Jobs passed away, and this new iteration of iPhone. I mean, from iPhone 5 to iPhone C to iPhone S. I mean, like you make a phone that all you did was change the color of the case, and you're going to sell that to me? Like that's your marketing fucking plan? Like really?
It's out of control.
You know, and then the 5S comes out, and because I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to upgrade to the 5C. That's just retarded. And then the 5S comes out, and I'm like, okay, maybe I can jump on board with this. And the first thing I see on it is it's got a fucking fingerprint scanner. No, thank you. I'm sorry. I'm a conspiracy theorist to the fucking roof, and there's just something really creepy about
Apple having your
fucking fingerprint, man. And
Yeah,
I was doing some research on it too, and like you can turn that function off, and you can still put a passcode on your phone or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you go to iTunes and you buy something from iTunes, you touch the fucking scanner and scan your fingerprint to purchase an item or purchase an app or whatever off iTunes. Not my bag, man.
That's
I can't.
Like some biblical stuff.
It's creepy, right? It's a little Mark of the Beast kind of thing, right? So, I can't get on board with it, and but I want a new phone, and I got the iPhone 4. It's really bad. I put iOS 7 on it. iOS 7 is a joke. Let's be honest. It looks like a fucking cartoon screen, man.
Wow.
It does. It looks like I swear to God, it looks like I have a Barbie phone. Like they're doing the same. They're doing.
Albie, don't lie. You want a Barbie phone.
I kind of do, right?
Yeah.
No, so it's everything about it's just bad, and like Pat was saying, I don't know if it was iOS 7 that did it, or I don't know what's going on, but I've been like not necessarily missing texts, but not getting alerts when they're coming through. The other day, Rich called me the other day, and my phone literally rang once. Like I got one ring, one snippet of a ring out of it, and it stopped, and I picked my phone up, and I didn't have a missed call on my screen, and I didn't realize it until several minutes later that you called,
Albie,
because a voicemail came through.
You've been using that excuse for years. I mean, really? Now you're gonna say it on just because It's,
no, I mean I'm being 100%. I'm being 100% honest here.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, so it's just I'm looking at making the transition, and the transition naturally at this point is to come off of iOS and go to the Android market. And so I went to the store the other day, and I was looking at the Galaxy S4. That's a fucking sweet phone, dude.
Oh boy, that's what I have. I have the S4. In fact, I hadn't had an upgrade in 2 years, and I was due for an upgrade. And I don't know, how long ago was this peak? I literally had just come over to Pat's house. We stayed there for a couple of days. We actually went skeet shooting, skeet and trap shooting.
Oh, back then. Okay, I got you.
Yeah. And I had just gotten this new phone, and let me tell you, I've enjoyed every moment of it. You get to learn the new features about the swipe. And by the way,
the air swipe.
Yeah,
that's just tight.
In no way is Galaxy paying me for this. Or,
Samsung.
Yeah, no, but really, it's a great phone. Yeah, not yet, right? It's a great phone. I like the free Android market. It's more of a democratic way of doing things, as it were. Yeah, I don't know if you put it that way. I like the iTunes market as well, which I found out the other day. Through a single program, you can actually download through Android too. So if you have the iTunes market, and you love that as well, you can put that on your Android as well.
But
and
I don't know
if it's backwards comparable. I don't know if you can have the Android market on your iPhone.
No, it's definitely not. I mean, Apple's a very, that with everything, excuse me, everything that they make, it's all proprietary. There's nothing. I found out the other day when I was at the store.
Plugs. Let me throw that in. Apple, if you listen to this for some reason, take this as a plea to all phone users out there, including your own customers. Make your plugs the same as every other company has done. I don't know what you don't understand about universal connectivity. Your ads and everything talks about that, yet you're the only phone company that hasn't gotten on board. Now you want to try to promote this double-sided plug? I don't give a fuck. I want to make sure that if I go to my buddy's house or somebody else's house that I know are iPhone users, I can plug my phone in there. Because let's be honest, if you're a social media junkie, or even at a moderate level, or if you check or email or Facebook, or hopefully listen to the Five Guys Mostly Lies podcast, I don't know.
Nice plug.
You're gonna use up your battery. And let's be honest, I have a charger in my car, in my house, in my boat, everything. I don't own a boat.
You own a boat? Where the fuck's your boat at?
I wanted to. I want to.
I better check that out real quick. Coast Guard coming in,
excerpts.
checking your shit out. You're definitely getting failing grade.
That's
And
awesome.
if you don't mind, if I could interject for just a second, I
But
think
hold
I'm the
on, let
exact.
me finish that thought. So the end of the point is, get with the program, Apple. I mean, for the love of God, let's make the world universal. Even Dell, who fucks their computers up and makes most of their shit proprietary, I can still plug the same monitor and keyboard in. Shit, even the power plug's the same. Even they've gotten on board the universal. You're the only one in the technology industry that hasn't jumped on this. Why don't you start making razors again?
Nice.
Plugins.
Pat, what's up?
Oh, I was just saying, my whole thing was, I guess I had the exact opposite. So I guess I missed Apple. I mean, I still like my iPhone a lot. It's very, it's really it's just simple to use, and it gets the job done almost every time. Obviously, this new update hasn't helped, but I mean, I'm still a fan of the device that I own, and I'm glad that I got it. Holds me down to a bunch of stuff. But I had the Android back in the day, and man, the Androids I had were just giggy and out of control and just not fun to use. So, man, you have to understand, I'm still on this iPhone 5 high because there's no doubt that when I got onto it, it's just been consistent success with the exception of the last update.
Yeah, and I mean, I think there's no doubt that Apple makes a good product. I mean, there's absolutely no doubt in that. I mean, like I said, I'm an Apple fanboy. I got an iPad. I've got an iPhone. Kim's got an iPad. She's got an iPhone. I mean, if I can afford an Apple Tower or an Apple, an AirBook or whatever, I'd own one. They're sweet. They're really nice. They make a great product. And I, that was my biggest beef with maybe switching to an Android, was because everybody that owned Androids back in the day bitched and moaned about how glitchy the iOS or the OS was, and
It's true.
but
It's
I
true.
think they've gotten better. I think they've kind of caught up, because there's no doubt. I mean, when iPhone came out, they were years ahead of everybody. Nobody knew nobody in the fucking technology industry knew what the fuck just hit them. I mean, and the Android market has been trying to play catch up since then, and now, I mean, you look at the Galaxies, you look at HTC Ones. I will never own a Windows phone, but you look at those as well, and everything's similar now. Everything's got swipe, everything's got touch screens. They're all the same shit now. So it just becomes
the Android crushes them spec wise.
well, yeah, and I mean, you look at the processors that they put in the Galaxies and the Notes and all. I mean, these things they're fucking beasts, man. They're phones on steroids now, and
They're many computers.
they
they're
absolutely are.
Yeah, they're tiny computers.
And it's so looking at it, it's like, man, here's the other reason why I've looked at Android a lot is, I love the open market, or the open source market, and being able to do whatever the fuck you want to do with your phone. I've been like I said, I've owned every single iPhone. Every single iPhone that I've owned has been jailbroken, because I like to be able to do whatever the fuck I want to do to my phone. I don't want to be stuck, pigeonholed into what Apple wants me to do with my phone. And that's kind of the pull I'm getting from Android, is that you can do whatever you want, and the hardest thing for me is making that transition from Apple to Android. And I was talking to the guy at the store, and I was like, so how bad of a transition is it to go from Apple basically to the Android market? And the biggest one for me is like music, for instance. iTunes saves all your music in that bullshit MP4A format that only Apple can play.
Yeah, Android's MP3, bro.
Well, yeah, but I was talking to the guy, and he's like, it doesn't matter. You can highlight all your fucking your whole iTunes library, dump it onto your Android, and it will play MP4A.
Yeah, well, and in fact, you can choose where it's saved to. So you can plug it into I think they make 64 gig, micro SDs now. But
oh yeah, they do.
Yeah, I mean, shit, you put a 12 gig or whatever, or 8 gig rather, in there. I mean, I think that's what I have in mind. Shit, I mean, you're gonna have a lot of songs before you fill it up.
And how crazy is it that a micro SD the size of your pinky fingernail can hold 64 gigs of information now? That's just mind blowing.
Bro, I just bought a thumb drive off of eBay for $40-something. That's a 500 gigabyte thumb drive.
It's insane, man. It's just incredible the way.
There's a thumb drive.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. Sure. And yeah, so I'm probably going to end up with a Galaxy S4. I was at the store, and there was a Samsung rep there, and they were showing me the Galaxy Note 3. That thing's a beast, man.
Dude, that thing is so awesome. I really like that thing.
Which one is that?
It's the Note 3. It's the new Samsung. I think it just came out like 2 months ago, maybe. And dude, this thing is badass. Like, she was showing me. She took out a notepad. It's got a stylus pen, which is it's kind of, I don't know. I got away from a Palm phone years ago because I didn't like having to use a stylus pen, and now we're back to stylus pens, right? But one of the cool things she did.
The Palm Pilots.
Yeah, you remember that shit?
Boy, that reminds me of AP Financial something.
Exactly, man.
Oh, man.
So she takes out this fucking stylus pen, opens up her notepad, and literally writes a name. She writes Doug and then writes a phone number down, saves the notepad, touches her contact screen, and it pulls the information from the notepad that she wrote in her own handwriting and produces it onto the fucking contacts as name for contact, Doug, phone number, boom, puts it all in there. You don't have to do anything. I was like, that's fucking cool as shit.
Sure.
And then on the note, she wrote, like, met guy at tech show or whatever. And then she was saying, you go a couple of months and you're like, man, I got to call that guy. What the hell? I don't remember his name. You can do a search for show, and it pulls up that note and says, oh, here it is. It's Doug. Here's his phone number. You met him at the tech show. I was like, that's fucking cool as shit, man. And split screen technology. You can run a window for YouTube and split the screen and do whatever, check Facebook while you're watching a YouTube video or whatever. I was like, this is pretty cool, man.
That does sound pretty badass.
So I'm at a crossroads, so to speak, and I think that I will be an Android user by the end of the month. So, and I think we get Dorian trying to come in here, but what the heck's going on?
Well, that ruined the introduction I was just about to do for him. Introducing the King of Clute. He has graced us with his presence. One, Dorian Gutierrez.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Man,
Sorry.
welcome.
Sorry, I had to stick to my MO, Always an late arrival. I can't break trend.
He sounds good. Everything is going to be good. So a quick recap for Dorian, and we apologize for the screeching halt that Dorian brings to everything when he comes in. It's kind of like Animal House when they walk into the club and the whole fucking everything just stops. That's Dorian.
Yeah.
So a quick recap, Dorian. All we really talked about was Apple, the transition from Apple to Android. That pretty much sums it up.
We did do the Apple and Android. What was the general consensus?
Well, I'm
Android
from Apple to Android.
Did you hear
who
that?
prefers it? Who prefers Apple to Android?
Well, no, I've been an Apple fanboy forever, and I'm jumping ship. I'm leaving Apple, and I'm coming to Android.
Yes.
Oh, it's a phenomenal idea, and like where my perspective always stands.
I love you, Dorian.
When I tend to give opinions, I like to be honest. And honestly, the Apple iOS system, it really does work more fluidly and less glitches than the Android one.
Until they introduce this new update.
Yeah. However, man, their features wise, you cannot compare. Any Android blows iPhone out of the water as far as
Android, he says, in typical exaggerated fashion. We also spoke about how Android, Apple had its day, and Android, the early Androids, the ones that I owned, were glitchy as hell, and they were no fun to have.
Well, absolutely, and that goes with anything. You know, like when I bought my Galaxy Note, it was the best. It worked so fluid. As soon as the Galaxy Note 2, my glitches started. Why? Because all the updates are coming out for the 2. Now,
gentlemen, do you know what that's called? That's called planned obsolescence.
Yeah. So I mean, every phone has its era, you know, but you have to compare it to like a comparative level, like the iPhone 5S. You have to compare that now to the S4. S4 trumps the iPhone 5S 100 times over. The HTC, another great phone. Aluminum casing, front speakers made by Dre Beats. Like, I mean, it has its own form of, like, the Windows Live
Can we
tile.
just give away more free advertising than this?
Can I throw this out there?
You wouldn't know this, Dorian, but there's been some other free advertising going on.
Can I throw this out there, guys, real quick? Dorian, you don't get an opinion. You came in late.
Yeah.
Next topic.
Put your dunce cap on
Dorian,
and let's
next
go.
Next topic. Why were you late?
I had to eat my...
What had happened was...
Again! I knew it was a food reference.
All right, so once again, Dorian was late, just like episode 0, because he was eating food. You know what, Dorian? I haven't eaten yet. I haven't even gotten my good night beer yet because I was on time. Anyways, let's continue the banter that we've started here. So, Dorian, since you're late to the party, I'm gonna throw it to you, and I want you to come up with a topic for us to discuss. Well, Dorian disappeared once again, so
he's using a cell phone. He's got a brand new computer. He's using a cell phone. Dorian, you're an asshole, bro. Like, I mean, we can't even get a serious thing going. You come late and you do it on a cell phone outside. Why are you on a Wi-Fi cell phone outside doing our podcast?
I'm on a 30 megabyte connection to my computer.
God, boy. I mean, we just talked about this for a week. You come on at 9 o'clock, an hour and a half late, and you're cluting it up. You're the biggest clute. If I had an anger bone in my soul, I would be angry. But I'm just disappointed, father-like style.
What is this clute boy thing? What is this?
You know, we don't even know where it comes from.
The story of the Clute Boy goes back to my college days when I was in the fraternity. And when we were there, I just had some fraternity brothers that would just come up with some outrageous things to say. And to be honest with you, I'm sure they knew where they came from, but we just said it so much that it absorbed it. And Rich liked to come up there and, chill with us. So whenever he did, he picked it up. And I would always say it around him all the time because, he fits the definition of a clute, so it works out perfectly. Awesome.
I'm pretty sure everything he just said there was an absolute lie.
No, that's actually very true.
You pulled a Dorian on us, bro.
Boy, it just, I guess, situation. My son is sleeping in the living room. I can't be right there, so I came outside to smoke a cigarette and do the podcast with you guys.
You lock yourself in the closet next time. In the closet? Yes, it's soundproof. Yes, you can't hear a kid or a person in the background. What?
I said locked in the closet. Dorian's so used to that. Come on now.
Okay, so let's try this again. Let's try this again. As once again Dorian has caused this podcast to come to another screeching halt. That's two in less than fucking 10 minutes. So we're gonna try. I'm gonna try this once again. So what I was saying before we lost Dorian was, Dorian, since you're late to the conversation, we've kind of already started talking. I want you to bring up a topic for us to discuss tonight.
Okay.
A real topic.
And
You
we've
guys
had
get-
awesome ones.
Okay. I have gotten so much relentless badgering from you guys about this. And I'm about to speak up because this week it came out on the news, and oh my god, I couldn't stop texting. I think Richard even called me about the topic. Oreos have been found more addicting than cocaine.
Wow, true story. Can we tell some backstory, Pat and I?
Yes, please
we have
explain.
some intel. So
Okay.
so my last story with Dorian was he likes Oreos, and to use the word likes is
Loose.
I don't know.
Loose.
It's like saying lava's a little bit
Obsessive.
hot. You know what I'm saying?
Lava's
Yeah,
a little
obsessive.
hot.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your iconic crackhead who needs his crack, right? Just replace him with Oreos, Dorian.
Yeah.
Hey, get the
He
picture now.
basically took
So
himself
last
any
time
kind
I
of
came
drug
over his
issues
place,
by getting
Dorian
on
set about eating Captain Crunch cereal, dipping his Oreos in it before they have been dunked in peanut butter.
Oh,
So Dorian's addiction to Oreos has been a couple year long thing. And this study comes out the other day, early in the morning, and it just so happens Dorian and I are talking about it at the same time. We've got the Five Guys Mostly Lies inside chat, which you can also see up on our website right now, a little excerpt of it that started this all. But we chat on that all the time, all of us. And Dorian posts this thing, and I called him before, and I was like, Dorian, I found your problem. He's like, dude, I just posted in there. And true as shit, there was a study out there that found Oreos more addictive than cocaine.
Now,
And I feel a little sympathetic for the fat boy now.
who did the study? Do you guys know? Like, was it?
Oh, man.
almost certainly a uncredible fat boy institution of Dorian
it was
amazingness.
It was done by a university, and I don't remember now which one, but it was done by the university. I saw the article.
This university, just out of curiosity.
Well,
What?
I don't know. I don't know. That wasn't part of the article.
Well, I mean, if they ate that many Oreos to get addicted, they were smoking.
Gentlemen, it was a Connecticut College. Connecticut College.
Connecticut
The bold
College.
claim. Apparently they fed lab rats, one of them cocaine, or one test group cocaine, and the other Oreos, and the rats were more like needing it than the ones that were fed cocaine.
Wow.
Yeah, apparently they hit the same. All three of them hit the same, or all two of them hit the same pleasure sensor in the brain as cocaine, or as morphine, rather.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, so my box of 100 Oreos is justifiable.
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
We're
It's justifiable because Connecticut College says that they're more addictive than cocaine. Like, okay, who the fuck is Connecticut College? First of all,
That's funny.
and second of all, okay, maybe they're more addictive than coke. Maybe, but that does not fucking justify 100 cases of Oreos or 100 packets.
Oh, he buys them in 10 cases at a time style.
10-case sleeves, like Costco. Style boxes.
It's cheaper to buy in bulk.
Along with a vat of milk. He doesn't get it in gallons anymore. He gets it so he can bathe it.
He just
You open up his fridge and you're like, God damn it, I didn't know they made milk in the 3-gallon jug.
And then you come over and you see his Oreo cookie glasses that he has, and they're like specially designed to like dip your Oreo in them.
I actually have an Oreo goblet. I use now.
Oh my god! You know what rhymes with goblet? Fat rhymes with goblet.
Wow.
Amazing.
We were too quiet in episode 0, so we had to take it to town.
Yeah, you got to take it to the next level. I love it though.
I like the topic. Good topic, Dorian.
That's a
Oh
good
yeah,
topic.
absolutely.
So
I have a couple more.
So I just like that. That's just. I mean, that's mind-boggling. It really is. Like, so what? I'm wondering what in the Oreo is the addictive substance?
The cookie or the cream?
Dorian knows.
The long-term question, the cookie or the cream, that's as classic as how many licks does it take to get to the center of a lollipop?
A Tootsie Pop. A Tootsie Pop.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah. Okay. So nobody really knows what the addictive chemical inside of an Oreo is, but I mean, but that's such a fucking retarded story, not story, but study. I mean, that's like I say Krispy Kreme donuts are more addictive than cocaine. You ever had a hot Krispy Kreme donut?
Oh my God!
Orgasm.
Right when they make it in the morning, it's
Yes.
like right when you get there and the dough is still warm. There's nothing
Exactly.
like it.
Wow. Did anybody just hear what he just did? He definitely
But let's be
had
honest.
the full experience
anybody here
without the
disagree?
donut because he's that fat. It's out of control. And guys, I want the radio world to know, or radio or podcast world to know, that Dorian Gutierrez, he may not actually be as fat as I'm leading you up to believe, but his mindset is so fat.
100%. My
crazy.
appetite is 100% a fat boy's appetite.
Like,
Yeah.
if Dorian was the weight of his mindset, he would have to be movable via crane.
Like the fattest man alive, that 700-pound dude. They did a special on like Nat Geo or something like that.
No, bro,
No,
he's 1,200 pounds the fattest man.
My Oreo fascination is so bad that you know when the EBT glitch happened and everyone's amount went through the roof. If I had an EBT card, I would have solely spent it on cards full of
Oh
Can you
my
imagine
God.
him just
At
carting
the
up
end of
the
the
register
bag-
with his thing full of Oreos, just looking at the guy with this look of kind of like half shame and half being proud of himself?
Yeah,
Can't you
that could
see
be
Dorian
better
just doing that?
If I had the option and they were running the little like mini crane, I would be like, sir, just pick up this fucking Oreo shelf right here and just take it to the register. I'm going to take every motherfucking Oreo that's on this register.
Dorian, when it gets to the end of the Oreo bag, the Oreo dust, you know how most people just tip it back and eat it? He actually puts it on his granite countertops and draws out lines and snorts it.
No, that's completely false.
Wow.
True story, guys.
That
I've
sounds
seen that
painfully
shit.
sugary to your soul.
That is false.
That's awesome.
He's currently working on a way of direct injection or IV drip, whatever is easier.
Like the little diabetes pumps that you carry on your back. Just get it constantly pumping.
No, just picture a saline solution bag, but instead of saline, it's just cookies and cream.
If that were
You're just
ever
like,
invented,
"Hit me, bro."
like the little morphine button.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Holy
You guys-
shit, bro! Is this the fucking double stuffed?
Holy shit.
That was my crackhead impression.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And then don't even mention when they start fucking with like the chocolate on chocolate Oreos or the reverse Oreos or the rainbow or any of the 1,000 other Oreos they've made. Dorian's had them all.
Especially the rainbow. Those
So
are
is
his
it just
Rainbow
the
artist.
original Oreos, Dorian, or is it like Pat says, like if it says Oreo on it, you're eating it?
Yeah, pretty much. And even with the new Oreos, I attack it. My girlfriend just brought me home a cookies and cream Oreo the other day. It was delicious.
That's kind of an oxymoron. A cookies and cream Oreo isn't a Oreo cookies and cream?
Precisely.
It was Oreo's brand cookies and cream.
Did you hear him? Dorian even talks more technically when he talks about Oreos. He said precisely.
Precisely.
Well, Pat wanted to bring up how much Buccaneers suck, and I hate his soul that he wrote here on our set list. I'd first like to say that I've liked the Buccaneers since they were creamsicles, and let's be honest, they had the creamsicle color there for a little bit.
And Houlihan Stadium.
Yes, thank you, good man.
Stadium.
And
Well, hey, you know what though? Even though the Bucks suck, they don't suck as bad as the Giants do right now.
Ooh,
that is
that's-
true. That is
yeah.
true.
Because
Wait, we have
Eli
what?
looks
One
pretty
less
fucking
loss,
awful.
but no wins.
Say again.
We have one less loss, but no wins. Like we have what we've lost 5. And
Okay, but let's be honest here. We are talking about the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, come
right?
on.
I mean, nobody really has extreme high hopes that the Bucks are going to go to the fucking Super Bowl or something.
Well, hey, I've said that for a year.
Pat, you wanted to bring up the Bucks. You wanted to talk about why the Bucks suck, don't you?
no, my whole point with the whole Bucks thing was they just screwed over Josh Freeman really bad.
Yes.
Or was it that Freeman kind of screwed himself over?
I don't think so.
No, I think it was the Bucks and the Glazers. I mean, the Glazer family doesn't give a half shit and just...
Let's kind of look at his stats this year. They're not fucking good at all.
No, they're not. But it's not worth like the complete betrayal of the team and throwing him out on his ass.
Well, I mean, I think he wanted out. Josh Freeman thinks he's a starter.
Let me jump in here and I figure we bring up a little political talk here. What do you feel about the government shutdown?
The Republicans say it's their fault, or the Republicans say it's the Democrats. The Democrats say it's Republicans. It's fucking DC's fault.
I'm confused as to. I understand the whys and or the supposed whys behind both parties. I'm understanding. What I'm not understanding is how can a fraction of one branch of government shut down 40% of the government and are able to deem, who's a necessity and who isn't, and furlough, people. I don't understand is the how behind it. How are they able to do this?
Well, for years they weren't able to. Years ago, nobody could have gotten away with this on any level.
That's not true. They did 10 government shutdowns.
Yeah, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. This is completely different. This was
no boy. In 1993. Yeah.
But they couldn't agree over a budget.
But I think what Mike is saying, it's never been to this scale.
It has, though. It has.
No, it's been to this scale. It's never been for this reason. And let me tell you, the 95 shutdown, or 93 or whatever, was different because it was actually over the budget.
Right.
But I don't care about the reason. What I'm trying to figure out is how can such a small... Okay, again, how can a fraction of one branch of our government shut down 40% of it? How do they have that much power?
Because of... Well, you got a couple things happening. One, you have to have a supermajority, and if you don't have a supermajority to fix it, you can't do anything. So that's why nothing ever gets passed now. But you also have gerrymandered districts where they have no repercussions whatsoever for what they do. So it used to be almost a checks and balance system. So you mean, how could they do it? Well, they used to not really be able to do this because if they fucked around too much, they got tossed out of office.
Yep.
Like, on their asses.
Yeah, but
they would have a special election.
I'm looking for physical whys, or physical hows, rather. I mean, you're telling me legislatively, and I understand that. I know how politics work. What I don't understand is how can, by them up and just leaving, how can they have that ability to also shut down, legitimately shut down? What prevents people from going to work? What prevents payment processors from pushing through the checks that they go through? Because these are all not government-run companies.
No, but what you got to understand, Rich, is it's the reason that everything is quote unquote shut down is because there's no money to fund those organizations to make that happen. So.
Yeah, but they don't need to pass a bill every month to say, okay, we're going to fund them this month.
They do, because we're so fucking far in debt and we owe so many people money. The government is funded by credit, and that's it.
Yeah, I understand that, but...
Which really isn't that big of a deal if on the level that they should just pass the fucking, Pat didn't get paid because they just didn't want to pass the thing, and they wanted to try and use it to defund Obamacare.
Yeah, no, so I mean, they're basically, what you have is you have a Republican Party that's trying to defund Obamacare, even though the Supreme Court has said it's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We can't go back and say, well, nobody wanted it because whether they did or didn't, the Supreme Court decided that we were going to get it anyways.
Yeah.
So we can't, you can't argue that anymore. But basically, so what's happening is the Republicans are arguing that point, and they're trying to say, no, we don't want this. You guys want it. Okay, we're not going to sign off on a clean budget until you guys start talking about defunding Obamacare.
And the two are completely unrelated.
Yeah,
they're very unrelated. The only point that's relatable, if you want to get into it, is it increases the budget because now we're having, the government's having to put out more money to fund that program. The reality of all this stuff is it's a spending issue, one, but it's also a tax issue. We're not pulling in enough income as a government to fund the programs that we have established for.
And I can lay blame there at some point on the Democratic House too, because Harry Reid hasn't put through a bill in I don't even know a budget in I don't even know how long.
Yeah, but to compare this Congress to other Congresses, I mean, this is the least productive Congress that we've had yet. I mean, without getting too much into politics, and I think you guys both know that, I'm neither right wing nor left wing. I think I sit in the middle. I'm right wing on some issues, left wing's on the other.
I think most of us in this conversation consider ourselves pretty much right in the middle.
If I can just read you a quote real quick. This is Senator John McCain, 2 days ago, 48 hours ago. We started this on a fool's errand, convincing so many millions of Americans and our supporters that we could defund Obamacare. While McCain didn't name names, he faulted members of Congress, Tea Party specifically, for wrongly telling millions of Americans that Obamacare can be defunded. So, it's the Tea Party.
Yeah, it's already funded. I mean, that's the funny thing about it.
What I find amusing is that the same Tea Party-led revolution that won the Republicans the House back is the exact same thing that's going to tank John Boehner as Speaker of the House.
Well, I've said it for years. Revolutionists, I mean, not revolutionists, but these far left or far right wing fanatics, they get people elected because they create a lot of flair and a lot of fire and a lot of flash, at the very beginning. But when people realize, wait a second, these guys are fucking retarded.
Well, here's my thing on that one, right? Is it that the groups are retarded, or are they infiltrated with retarded people?
Well, maybe does it matter really?
No, I don't think it matters. But I think when Occupy came out, a lot of people could get behind the thoughts and beliefs that Occupy had, and then it turned into this fucking drum circle with a bunch of hippies that don't fucking go to work,
True.
And then actually,
but when it first came out, it was like, holy shit, this is kind of a cool movement.
That's true.
And the Tea Party is the same fucking way.
Really funny. Oh, the Tea Party was actually even worse because they got co-opted so bad it made my head spin.
Oh yeah, for sure.
At least the Occupy movement started out cool. It got really weird with the drum circles and whatnot. And then when winter hit, all of the drum circle people left, and then it went back to being like a serious fucking movement, and it died. But
well, yeah, because by that point it had been so hippified, I guess you could say, for lack of a better term, that it lost traction. It didn't have anything left behind.
Well, hold on, to kind of jump back and answer your question. I really thought about that, and I think. Yes, I think that it's just people that are. I mean, I hate to use the word retarded. I don't mean any offense to anybody out there.
Yeah, that's probably not the best choice.
Probably not the best choice of words, but I just think they're not grounded to reality. I know people, and I've talked to people on Facebook that can actually get behind this government shutdown, and I've found that whether you're right wing or left wing, Republican, Democrat, that most people fall in the same sense as to how can this little group, basically. Hold all these people and all these jobs ransom because they're babies, and as 41 times they've challenged the same thing, and 41 times it's sitting and standing as is, and because that it didn't, the votes didn't go into their favor, they're, like I said, holding everybody else hostage, and I don't think that that's right, and I think that it takes a really. Again, I hate to. It's not the word retarded. I don't know what I'm looking for, but it takes a person not grounded to this world and to the problems and the real issues to actually. Yeah, that's a perfect word. That's kind of the one I was thinking about on tip of my tongue. A deluded person to not think about this. And meanwhile, what kills me is that the taxpayers are still paying for all of their health insurance, and we're still paying their salaries. So they're not even feeling the burden that they put on a lot of other people out there. And I think that's sick. I think once we get to a society where we can put laws through that only affect the people that you're supposed to govern, we get to a really fucked up place.
Well, that's the problem, is these people don't. They're in office, and they think that they're like royalty almost. Nobody governs for the people anymore, and it's been that way for quite a while now. we've gone away from the Constitution, and we're just kind of, I don't know, man. It's not something that just happened. It hasn't. It's been happening for the last 30, 40 years now. I don't know what the movement was that started it, but half the damn problem is these guys are in quote unquote public office and they're fucking millionaires.
Yeah. Well, the real problem is we need not only separation of church and state, but we need separation of corporation, church, and state.
Well, I mean that's that's a topic that can go on for hours.
Yeah. All right. So, Pat, would you like to say anything? Being the only member of the armed forces. Oh no, that's a lie. I'm sorry, Ellie.
That's all right. I'm out. I've been out for a while. But
Pat, as an active member of the armed forces, would you like to say anything?
Well, I mean, I just don't agree with how they've handled it. I mean, they're supposed to negotiate, and some days they don't even do that. I mean, every day of a government shutdown that they're not at least at the table doing something, it's just a waste of everyone's time and effort that wants the government to get back to normal. You're creating uncertainty, you're affecting the economy, you're affecting our national security, you make us appear weak. I mean, how is this helping us as a nation? That's what I have to say.
And and going to what Trick just said too. The problem is, and I think most of us out there can see this, is when you have an extreme left and an extreme right governing, you will never get things passed.
That's true.
The only way things get done is by meeting in the middle. I mean, you look back at Clinton, and Clinton's second term, he was more a middle of the road Democrat than he was in his first term.
Anyways, rolling off that topic, because I did mention it when I said it. Rolling off that topic, I had mentioned it in my previous statement about the Oreos. Did you guys hear about this EBT glitch where everyone's maximum went through the roof?
Yeah, it wasn't that the maximums went through the roof. Okay, so for those that don't know, the EBT card is the new food stamp because apparently it was too embarrassing for people using food stamps to buy shit on food stamps. So they give them a debit card, basically. It's called an EBT card. Well, because of I'm guessing that it was because it was part of the government shutdown or something happened where the program glitched out and there was no maximum on these cards. You could buy as
unlimited.
Much. Yeah, because everybody gets a certain set amount that they are allowed to spend on that card. Well,
my God.
Apparently they glitched out and people could buy however much that people were going to Walmart and spending like fucking thousands of dollars on these
carts
food stamp cards
and carts full. They're like 12 carts all linked up to each other, and you see these two people rolling into the register.
Yeah, it's absurd and like true idiot style. Like they don't realize that the government's gonna catch up with that. Like they're gonna figure it out, and then these people.
Yeah, but what are they gonna do?
Well,
it's like Monopoly, bank error in your favor. Collect a fucking 1,200 carts of groceries.
Yeah, well, it's either going to be one of two things. We're going to pay for it in our taxes, and nothing's going to happen, or they're going to figure out who used these.
Yeah, but half these people are low income people. What are you going to do? Charge them?
No, they won't get their funds. They won't get their food stamps put on their fucking card. That's what should happen. Well, you know what? You fucking idiot. You spent more than you knew you were supposed to spend. Guess what? You bought $3,000 worth of groceries. You should be set for a couple of months.
Wow, so are you talking about like a suspension, or are you talking about a permanent disbarment of the program?
No, they won't ever do that. That'll never happen. I mean, even though part of me kind of says it should, but no, I think what'll happen is whoever used their card and took advantage of the program next month when their whatever it's called, their food stamps get put on their card, they're not going to get any. That money's not going to get put on their card.
I don't know. Maybe I would. Boy, I just feel like.
Well,
I feel like there's somebody out there that went into a Walmart and probably put like tens of thousands of stuff on the card, and then returned it for tens of $1,000s in gift cards. I wouldn't be surprised if we went on eBay right now and found a shit ton of gift cards for sale. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really think about it. I mean, just Think about how much money we, as the people on our taxes that pay for all this, we just got screwed out of.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
There's no way, Rich. In my opinion, I'm speaking completely out of ignorance because I have not researched it, but I am telling you, there is no way they're refunding these EBFT people. They have to signify it somewhere on there. Either that or they're completely broken and retarded.
yeah, but like
Excuse my
Walmart
language.
and places like it, they don't require receipts for returns that you get gift cards from. And there's so many online services right now these days that you can exchange gift cards for cash. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, my mind works the angles, as it were. So I that's what I thought about when I.
You've literally already defrauded the whole system.
Well, did you hear about these guys that escaped from prison by somebody sent in a letter where they took a public record and they copy and pasted a judge's signature that were supposed to release 2 men as time served, and they walked out the front door and they were lifers.
What?
Man.
Yeah, no shit. Like somebody just sent in paperwork to the clerk's office. The clerks processed it because it had the judge's signature on it, right? And these 2 guys walked out. Now they're looking for him. It was in St. Pete, bro.
Wow, I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, it was cool, man. I mean, cool, but it was kind of like Ocean's 11, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
Ocean's 11, he says.
Are they still
It
currently...
hit the angle you don't think about.
Are they still currently on the run, though?
Yeah, they're on the run.
So hide your wife, hide your kids.
That's awesome. Wow, dude, I didn't hear that story. That's unreal.
Yeah, I didn't hear that one.
Dude, I was just I'm sitting here in my hotel, and before this started, I was flipping the channels, and I think it's Nat Geo or one of those channels. They got a show. It's called Drug Inc. Have you guys seen this show?
No, I haven't.
No, basically it's a show. They pick a city, and they basically go around and they interview drug dealers and addicts and all kinds of shit. Really? And they were in Detroit on this specific show. I caught the very end of it, and they were talking about how how bad the drug scene is in Detroit, and heroin's huge in Detroit, and the last bit of that show, I was watching this dude cook up DMT.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
No.
He was using like tree bark and basically was making DMT out of this shit, and then they were talking to a guy who used to be a heroin addict, was on every street drug known to man, and this dude is now a DMT guy, and he was.
Are you kidding me?
No, and he was.
That's just, it's so weird. It's not that type of.
Right. It's not. It's like not a glamour drug, but you know what I'm saying.
It's not a party drug or glamour.
Right,
it's like a spiritual. It's like ayahuasca. If you guys.
Yeah, and I mean, like DMT, like I won't get into the technicalities in it, but like YouTube DMT Joe Rogan, he explains it like to a T. But it's but yeah, it was just like I was sitting here watching it, going, that's the first time I have seen anybody outside of Rogan and a bunch of other guys talking about it, and
like you don't see. I hate to put it this way, but you don't see poor DMT users.
No, not at all. And I mean, they were saying how it's hit the hipster scene in Detroit. Like those are the guys that are using it. And
this is not something that most people, when they think about a psychedelic, and that's what it's categorized as, they think about LSD and acid and it's like and MDMA and all this other shit. However, this in a sense is nothing like that. It's like we said before, it's not a party drug. It's not a scene drug. Some would argue that it's not a drug at all. To give a little bit of background behind it and what I researched, it's nothing like what you would expect.
Well, and to interject something here for Rich too, it's a natural occurring drug. It's in every single person that's walking the streets right now.
Right.
Anybody listening to this, your body produces DMT. The point at which your body produces, anytime you sleep and you're in heavy REM sleep, your body produces this DMT. And at the very point that the point of death, your body produces an overdose of DMT. There were several. They did several studies on it. There's a great book. It's called the
Spirit Molecule.
The Spirit Molecule.
Right.
And it was a study that this doctor had done, and he actually gave patients DMT and was actually trying to find out what it does, and it's basically puts you in this like dream state and puts you into like an alternate universe or whatever. And they were talking about in this program too that it's not an addictive drug. There's nothing in it that's addictive. It's just.
I was going to ask you guys, because you guys were talking about addiction or addictive properties or not. There's this Russian drug thing that I saw on the internet the other day called Crocodile. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's apparently the cheaper version. It's like a third of the price of like what heroin users are using. But these people make it with gasoline and paint thinner and
Jesus Christ.
Or not paint thinner, but the stuff that takes the woman's nail.
That doesn't even sound attractive.
Yeah, and they actually cook it up. And if you guys, the ones that are on your computers, Google the crocodile drug and look at images. It literally, from the moment that you inject yourself on your first time, your skin turns green. The skin starts to rot away, and it's down to the bone.
Yeah, fuck that.
Well, I've seen the pictures of that. That's the thing that's just disgusting.
Yeah,
You mean I'm going to hit this and die?
Yeah,
it's called death.
Sound attractive.
It's called death.
There's some people out there that you tell
I'm going to hit this and I can't.
I can't hear.
I got shit to do today.
I was floored. I was flabbergasted. I was completely at a loss for words when I saw these images, and it was like, life expectancy of these users are less than a year because it starts eating away. Like this guy's foot falls off into a bucket because it's just bone.
What?
Well, with DMT, it's nothing like that. It's not addictive at all.
I can't believe we're reverting back to that.
No, that's fine. I mean, we'll move on. And I brought it up, and I brought it up.
I didn't bring it to a close. I didn't know.
Yeah, no. I brought it up for a couple of reasons. Just the only place I had ever heard DMT brought up was in Joe Rogan's podcast, but that was the first time on a nationally televised program I saw it. And it was just like, holy shit, check this out. This is wild. But yeah, we can move on. I wanted to bring it up, and I knew, I think we've been wanting to bring that topic up for a while. I think it's an interesting topic, and I haven't read The Spirit Molecule. I really do want to read that book, because it's a study that was done years ago, and it's just it's an interesting topic, I think. And I think it kind of opens, I don't know, it kind of opens up the thought processes, so to speak, of why so many street drugs are illegal that probably shouldn't be. And you look at Colorado and Washington State, who have kind of decriminalized and legalized marijuana, and it's a naturally it's a naturally occurring drug.
Is there a statistic on since it's been legalized or decriminalized over there, of like, I don't know, things that they made it illegal in the first place, criminal activity, anything like that? I mean, has there been a decrease in any of that?
Well, I mean, in this, in Colorado and Washington State, it's completely legal. I mean, they don't arrest people anymore for on marijuana.
No. I understand, but what I'm asking, if there's like a statistic that's come out since then, stating crime rate has dropped down.
Crime? Oh yeah, I don't know. I'm like that'd be an interesting. That'd be an interesting statistic to figure out. The other one I'd like to know is what kind of revenues those states are pulling in, based on
just off of that.
Yeah, off the taxes and everything that they're.
California's a multi-billion dollar revenue off of just that. I mean,
yeah, but they're still fucking broke as shit.
Yeah,
I mean, they're still a bankrupt state as we speak.
That's true.
So I mean, and I mean, California's kind of they haven't they've legalized medicinal marijuana, but they still have all kinds of problems over in California with the DEA and all those guys getting involved with that shit too. So, it's not exactly like Colorado and Washington State are on a different level, I think. And it'd be interesting to find out, where they are.
That's statistic, yeah.
And maybe if the government just fucking legalized it and started taxing the shit out of it, maybe we wouldn't be in a government shutdown, and maybe we wouldn't be up against the fucking debt ceiling and everything else. So,
I mean, gosh, we could talk about what's wrong with the government all day long.
Well, yeah, and I think we could sit there and beat a dead horse. I think everybody kind of gets the idea there, but.
I'm pretty sure everyone's basically done that in the media over the last.
Well, yeah, I think so too.
18, 17 days there.
So, I think Dorian's getting yelled at.
No. I'm sorry, guys.
I'm kidding.
In the middle of the podcast, I'm in the middle of changing a diaper.
Oh, nice. Daddy duties in the middle of a podcast. So, anybody else? Any other topics we want to hit on?
Let me jump in here, and what I want to know, I don't know if you guys have all seen this, but have you guys seen that motorcycle chase in New York? This is what I hated about it, is everybody was like, who started it? What? It doesn't matter. How many accidents happen on a daily basis? I mean, does anybody know the statistics on that? Like thousands, probably? So there's yeah, okay, so thousands of accidents happen on a daily basis. What the issue is what happened afterwards. And from all of my knowledge and what I've been reading is that when the guy pulled over after he hit the guy in the back of the tire, no matter whose fault it was, it doesn't fucking matter because it was an accident, that after he pulled over that they started attacking the car. And I think that's where we really need to start talking about, is because if your car start getting attacked, I don't care who you are. I don't even care if you have your wife and daughter in the car. I'm by myself in the car, and I have 10 people surrounding my car, ones that supposedly slashed one of my tires, and the others that are denting and attacking my car without talking to me first. I'm going to run them over.
And the videos now show conclusively that they were punching the car, and you can see the video before the first stop where they slashed the rest of his tires. His back left tire was slashed already.
Yep.
So, yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised that guy only ran over one dude.
Yeah, me too. I saw that video. I mean, it's sad. I mean, you got to imagine that, within the bikers, there were a few of them in there. Or not even a few. It could have been most of them in there, hey, that were, not attacking and this, that, and the other. But the fact of the matter is in a court, I think that's called accessory to a crime. I think so. I mean, even if you're a driver of a bank robbery, right? You didn't commit any of the...
The guy who got run over shouldn't have even been there.
Yeah, if you're blocking a car, that's exactly what I was saying as well. If you're blocking a car, you're illegally imprisoning or illegally stopping a car. There was a technical term about it. It's called like road imprisonment or something like that. And I don't know, if you're in front of a car and illegally making a stop, and you're not a police officer, and you're in a little tiny bike, I don't know. I just don't think it was the smartest idea of the guy to be.
Yeah, and I mean,
Well, the guy. Sorry, go ahead, Albie.
I was gonna say, I think a lot of it's kind of an unfortunate situation. As a rider myself, and having ridden in groups like that, not like that, but you know what I mean, in large groups like that. It all started by the guy tapping the dude on the bike. Now, and I, as a rider, what they were doing, coming after finding out the story that they were trying to shut down the road for an illegal stunt thing or whatever, that kind of doesn't help their situation. But as a rider and riding with a group, I've done that before. Get in front of a car and slow down to allow the rest of the group to get ahead of you, so that everybody is in the same, is riding in a group. So I've done that before. And we, as a rider, we take it personal with what we call cages, which are cars, giving you love taps or cutting you off or whatever you want to call it. Because a fucking cage hits you, it's gonna fucking hurt, and it could kill you. So there's a lot of animosity there, and there's a lot of pent up aggression to that, which would cause a group of bikers to, quote unquote, attack or want to talk to this guy. Again, a lot of us, we've seen whatever was recorded by the group. It was obviously it was a cell phone camera or whatever, but helmet cam. So I mean, as a writer, I can kind of see their point, the biker's point. Now, it's unfortunate that the dude had his wife and his kid in the car, and then whatever happened, slashing the tires or whatever, that's a little excessive. But then after the dude takes off and runs over somebody, I have a hard time saying he didn't get what was coming to him too.
Yeah, but what would you have done? Like that's the point I'm trying to make. What would you have done differently? Like I was joking with somebody online about this.
If the roles were reversed, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, unless you had the Back to the Future hover wheels, you know what I'm saying? That
Sure.
could lift up. And
well, no, and I mean, I think sure. I'm sure that the guy was probably freaked out. I'm sure the wife was freaked out. I'm sure the kid was probably freaked out too. So, I think that you try and get out of that situation. Again, I think the whole thing is just a big unfortunate accident that turned into an even bigger situation.
Sure.
Who was moving around in the background?
That probably shouldn't have escalated to the level that it did on both sides.
Alvy, I understand your point too, and I can. Obviously it was just a big. I mean, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. I don't think.
Sure,
I mean, unless you're just an asshole.
Right.
But what would you have done differently in that situation? You're the driver of the car.
I think it's hard, and I don't think it does the situation justice by saying what would you have done, because I don't think any of us here really knows what we would have done. I think if I had my family in the car and we were in a state where certain types of force could have been used, I think it would have ended a lot differently.
Yeah, I agree.
I think if it was, I know me and Kim have talked about it, and Kim's like, if it was me in the car and that happened and we were here, people would be picking bullets out of themselves because that's just the situation. So I mean, I think it's kind of hard to say what would you have done, because I don't think any of us really could say what we would have done. I think it's I don't know. I just think it's a really shitty situation, and as things kind of come through, and I think the really shitty part about the whole thing is everything that's coming out. We kind of putting the bikers into like a group, like a gang or something, and the guy that smashed the window out with his helmet. Oh, he was riding on a suspended license and blah 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 blah. It's like fucking A. Who gives a shit? The guy was out riding his motorcycle. Like, does it matter that he doesn't have a valid driver's license?
It wasn't that guy. It was the guy that wasn't allowed to have. The guy who got run over shouldn't have been there in the first place, because he didn't. Not only did he not have a driver's license, but it had been taken away from him. He never got a driver's license. He only had a learner's permit. He was not allowed to drive or operate any motor vehicle until 2007.
No, I mean, yeah, sure. So I mean, that kind of, that sucks. It's
Alvy,
Sure.
all bikers are gang members. Come on, bro.
Oh, come on now, easy now, easy now.
What do you ride, Alvy?
I got a Cowie Vulcan Classic 1600.
That's a nice bike. I've been thinking about getting one, but I'm still partial to the crotch rocket design.
Did you just say crotch rocket?
Yeah, I didn't even. I don't say crotch a lot, Pat. So it's not in my vocabulary as much.
Oh, it's definitely in your vocabulary. I'm going to go ahead and tastefully bid you guys adieu. I do have to work at 4:45 in the morning.
Yeah, that's cool.
So,
Let's hang on, Pat. We'll do a closeout here. I need to go grab something. Wow, I just stuttered like crazy. I need to go get something to eat before something closes around here. So, guys, once again, we'll tighten this up. We'll close it down. Kind of went all over the place today, but I think we got some good audio today, and we'll definitely. This will definitely be a good episode. Once again, guys.
Dorian and his negative 3.0 iPhone.
That's right. So everybody out there, visit fiveguysmostlylies.com. Again, all the information there. A couple posts that we've thrown up there, and hopefully soon we'll have some download links so you guys can get these things out there.
Like us on Facebook and Twitter.
Like us on Facebook, Five Guys Lies at Facebook, Facebook.com/Five Guys Lies, and the number 5 Guys Mostly Lies at Twitter. Get on there and tell your friends about us so we can get this out to everybody you know so that they can join the debauchery that is Five Guys Mostly Lies. Guys, it's been a great time. Till next time, I bid you adieu. Good night. Thank you for coming out.
Good night,
Good night.